Okay, right. We'll go ahead and get started. We are streaming this webinar on our YouTube channels and Instagram Live as well. Check out our social media sites. We're always posting webinars and additional content on there to help you um, continue launching your product and launching your brand. Okay, excellent. So thanks to everybody for joining. During today's session, I'll be providing an overview of all of the primary features available to you on Pietra. This webinar will be focused primarily on the steps required to getting started with launching a product on Pietra. Specifically, when I say that, I mean the design of your product and refining the design idea, and then finding a supplier to connect with to have your product produced so you can order a sample. And then we'll touch a little bit on order fulfillment. Please note we have a number of really great analytics tools and marketing tools, which I'll touch on briefly here. But some of those are going to be a little bit beyond the scope of an introductory webinar. So I'll touch on those. I'll focus on some quick tips with getting started, but most of today's webinar will be focused on content for beginners and focused on helping folks who are really just getting started with the platform, with navigating it, and then with becoming accustomed to the design tools and with our sourcing network. Okay? So Pietra really aims to provide you all of the tools necessary to launch a product and launch your brand. And when we say that, we mean we want to help you to be able to source product, source more product, fulfill more orders, and reach more potential buyers. Okay? So an all-in-one platform to do that. And you'll see here, just when it comes to basic navigation of the website, we have our homepage with a number of tiles here. And going down the left, our sourcing section, we'll spend quite a bit of time here, which provides you access to our network of suppliers. Fulfillment. So if you decide to move forward with ordering a production run of your items, we can be your fulfillment partner. Full service 3PL available with Pietra. Pietra Storefront, which is included in any paid membership. So we can do print on demand, wholesale. It's kind of like a free Shopify site that we'll touch on. Our marketing tools can help you monitor what is going on online in terms of discussions of your brand. You can monitor competitors, you can find influencers, even build email marketing lists. Analytics, a number of dashboards and reports are included in your message to help you make decisions for your business. Product ideation, so we'll also call this product design. So for anybody who is really just getting started and you maybe have a general idea of the product that you want to create, but not a specific design yet, this is a great place to get started. We, of course, have education resources, this Copilot section. I'll get started here in just a minute. Pietra rewards points. So the more activity that you have on the platform, including purchasing samples, crossing certain milestones on the platform, you'll get access to rewards points that can be used for future purchases. Lastly, down here is a quick account menu. So anybody who really wants to get started should select a plan ASAP. And for anybody on a free plan, we use 2-week free trials, so you get full access. That trial will eventually expire and you'll have to select a plan. I would encourage you to navigate to billing and account info to make sure that your payment method is updated. And then you can manage your subscription here as well. We offer 2 primary plans for beginners. The Essentials plan is a good fit for folks who really are just getting started. The Business plan is more of our full service offering. You can think of the primary differences here as the Essentials plan has a little bit more limited access. You'll hit ceiling in terms of the number of, for example, design iterations you can do, slightly higher fulfillment fees, and more limited UGC content in the AI design studio as well. The business is going to be a little bit more full service. We offer monthly, quarterly, and annual memberships with 50% discount for annual and 25% for quarterly. If anybody has questions about the different subscription tiers and what's available to you, I would encourage you to visit this site, explore the details a little bit. For a lot of folks who are just getting started, the Essentials plan is going to be just fine. You can always upgrade to the business. Okay, I said this at the top of the hour, but if anybody has a specific product idea or project they're working on, please feel free to drop it in the chat or in the Q&A. Happy to explore that a little bit further as an example as we're looking into the sourcing section of the website. Great. Lexi is working on a hair care brand. We could definitely touch on that. Lots of hair care suppliers out there. And before we get into sourcing, and Iman is looking to design a polo shirt, another great example. If you are new to the site, I would strongly encourage you to visit the Pietra Copilot. So this is an AI agent that basically will start suggesting the next steps you should take based on your initial customer survey. So it's really like a mini AI assistant that's going to direct you to the next steps that you should take. So for example, in this test account here, I have fitness apparel. The Copilot is already suggesting some fitness suppliers I might want to connect with and some packaging suppliers I might want to connect with if I want to use branded packaging. Really great place to start if you really are just looking to get started and you're looking for a little bit of guidance on the website. All right. So for users who are just getting started, and you might have a general idea or product category, but not necessarily a design yet, would strongly recommend checking out the product ideation section here. Okay. So what's in this section is a number of template designs that are based on our suppliers' catalogs. And they are AI generated, and they could be a great place to start if you're looking to launch a product that might have been launched before. So definitely polo shirts are something that would be readily available here, activewear and gym clothing. And Erin here mentioned that she has a jewelry brand. A lot of jewelry catalogs are going to be mentioned here as well. And in terms of navigation, we have a number of templates that just populate here. I would encourage you to browse. And then across the top here, a number of categories. So I'll just click on jewelry here. Lots of kind of starting points that you can use to just click in. And really what this is going to do is it's going to pull up the design you clicked on, and you can further iterate and refine your design specifications or your design template from there. I'm getting a couple of questions about the polo shirt, so I'll use that as my example today. So again, I'm in the product design studio or product ideation. We'll pretend it's a men's polo shirt. And you can see right away, I'm already getting some good results. And you can think of what is being displayed here as a starting point for your design that you can further customize based on your specifications. Okay, so ton of different designs. Pietra has suppliers from all over the world, over 1,500 in total across a variety of merchandise categories. So it's very, very likely that if you can imagine it, one of our factories can create it. Okay. So I'm going to continue with the polo shirt example. A couple of good questions here about product and packaging suppliers coming in. I'm going to touch those in a minute here after I cover the ins and outs of the design studio a little bit further. Lexi asked a good question about how custom you can get with formulas and designs, as truly as custom as you want, all the way down to creating a completely custom item. We work with a number of brands who have found suppliers who make truly a custom product for their line. So this is not white labeling or not having to pick from a supplier catalog. You definitely can make custom items with your supplier. Where it's going to be important to focus on details is when you discuss those design specifications, you discuss pricing, and you discuss, whether it's important for your end product to be exactly as you have specified it, or if you're willing to go with something a little bit more off the shelf, lightly customized, potentially a little bit lower cost. Really going to depend on you and the supplier to refine those details. Okay. And I'll use this polo shirt as an example here. So this polka dot one I think is a great starting point here. And you can see I selected that template and it already pulled up some specifications for this garment here. And let's say I want to add an attribute here that it's, let's see, solid blue collar. And maybe the button is not that important to me. And just as you're thinking through these specifications, just know that you can generate multiple images of this. And this is going to be just our starting point. And the goal here is to eventually get an image that you can share with your supplier to begin a discussion about a product that they're actually going to make for you. Okay. And this all looks good. Contrasting color and sleeve trim. Solid blue color. And I'll say light blue cotton fabric here just to confirm, a couple of additional details to show you the power of this tool here. So what I've done now is click generate. And basically this is going to generate a number of product images for me to review further, or if I like what I see, I can begin sharing them with a supplier. Okay. Again, everything you see here is further customizable beyond what you see. And I would encourage folks to not think of this as an end product, but rather a starting point to use as a way to share your idea or your product with a supplier, and then you will further discuss it from there. Okay. So you can see some really specific details here, the Pantone colors of the shirt, some suggested product ideas based on my first suggestion, product specifications, including the fabric. All this is being pre-populated for you by the AI Design Studio, and then it even estimates the manufacturing costs for you. Sometimes it does take a minute to populate. I would just say, give it a minute to wait. I think this polka dot one is a great one to click into, and we can even specify further some measurements if we wanted to. Say we wanted this collar to be 2-inch collar. You wanted to annotate here. And all of these specifications here and comments and annotations will be communicated to your supplier when you submit this design to them, okay? So you'll see based on the product category I'm creating, we're already suggesting some suppliers here. Yoursoon is one that we work with quite frequently. And if you see one of these suppliers and you're ready to spark up a chat with them, all you have to do is click work with supplier, and that'll open up a chat with them. Otherwise, if you want to click get more options, you can see some additional suppliers that we suggest here. Okay. Now, all of your product designs, you'll see that I'm back in the product ideation menu here. All of your creations will automatically be saved. You can always update and edit them. And if you're feeling motivated to connect with one of these suppliers, just click Work with Supplier. It's going to pull up this form summarizing the project cost for you, where the supplier is located, provide some details on the item itself, and then you would just send a message, and that would immediately send a message to that supplier indicating you're interested in working with them, and they would respond if they think they can take on the project. Okay, so that's one way to connect with a specific supplier using the Product Design Studio. Again, just to summarize what I did here from our homepage, and anytime you want to get back to the homepage, you can just click this Pietra logo in the upper left corner. Is under Product Ideation, since it's our design studio. You can browse some template designs or search based on what your product type is. Now, all of your creations will automatically save under My Creations. And that said, if you wanted to start with maybe a sketch of your item, or if you have a reference image, you can upload that image and use that as the starting point rather than one of these template designs. And then all of your items are going to be saved under My Creations. Now, if rather than connecting with an individual supplier right away, you'd rather get a number of responses from some suppliers, you can submit your design as a custom project request, custom product request. You'll see here, and we offer custom products, custom packaging. There was a question about packaging and sourcing from different suppliers. That's totally fine. We'll go into that in a minute here. And also freelancers and agencies. I'll touch on this. So in addition to having factories listed that can make the actual products and packaging for your item, if you were looking for a little bit of creative support or you were looking for business advice, you can click on freelancers and agencies, and we can connect you with someone you can hire by the hour to help you with your project. Okay, question on drop shipping, Nicole. I'll circle back to that in just a minute. Okay, so rather than connect with a supplier directly, if you wanted to, you could submit a custom project request where you basically describe your project, select the product category, complete all these fields. Really important question here about customization, whether you want something that's readily available from inventory with slight customization, or if you want a completely custom product. Then you'll submit this form, and what that will do is it will send a message to all of the factories in that subcategory of product, basically like a mini project proposal or RFP. They'll review your project proposal, and if they think they can do a good job, they'll respond to you. And all of the responses will be recorded here in your supplier sourcing inbox, okay? So sourcing inbox, this is where all of your supplier communications will live. I'll pause here. Any questions about the Design Studio before I move on and the first step with connecting with a supplier? A question from Aman regarding customer service that can help you 24/7 from the start of the design. So if you are looking for more of an agency level of support where you would work really closely with a member of our team to source your product, we definitely offer what's called a managed service plan. Those plans typically start at $2,000 per month with a minimum 3-month contract up to 12 months. And if you pursue that option, you'll be assigned a person on our team to basically manage your entire project. We will manage all of the customer communications, all the supplier communications for you, and ensure that you are approving every step of the way, but we'll actually manage the communications for you. Otherwise, it's more of a self-service product here where, you know, we'll always answer your customer support questions, but you're the one who's in charge of this project. And David asked a question about, can my project contain more than one product? So I would consider, you know, each of these designs to be for one product. Now, we definitely have brands and creators who launch multiple products at one time. I would just think of it as, you know, you're sourcing each individual product as its own project. Now, some factories, and I'll go into this in a little bit more detail under sourcing, definitely list entire product lines of workout clothes that you can order as sets or individual pieces. If you wanted to order directly out of their catalog, do a little bit of white labeling and launch a whole line at once, that is definitely possible. I think if you're going to do that, unless you're unless you have a really high budget, frankly, you probably don't want to, make all those products custom. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a pretty significant investment. And the question about 2,000, including selling and shipping products, no. So this would be the price that you pay for our service. You would still, of course, pay for purchasing the products and shipping them, and you would pay for any customs and duties if they were an international supplier as well. So the 2,000 is really what you're paying for our service in that case. I would say most of the time, managed service is something that established brands take us up on, unless you have pretty significant, sizable budget, and you're prepared to pay somebody to provide you a service to help you source your product. Either the essentials plan or the business plan is probably a good fit for you for now. Okay. Excellent. So we touched on custom projects here. Touched on annotating. You can add your logo if you want. Lots of small customization available then. And you can always submit the custom project request. Okay, excellent. So once you've landed on a design for your project, you can really start thinking about how you're going to source that product. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a network of about 1,500 factories across a variety of product categories to help you source your product. Okay, so under sourcing home here, what we've basically done is create kind of a mini social media network or Facebook listing site for factories. So if there's one to do for everybody on this call who has not yet found a supplier, I would say just carve out between an hour and 90 minutes to browse through our sourcing homepage and explore our factory listings. So focusing on men's fashion here for a few more minutes. You can see that we've listed a number of factories. Each of them have their own supplier profile pages that show a portion of their category, their capabilities, tells a little bit about the factory itself, where they're based, reviews, and sometimes they'll even share notable projects they've worked on in the past. So sometimes these will be household brands that you're familiar with. We definitely have suppliers who have worked with Lululemon before, Nike, Shein, and higher end brands as well. So lots of information here. Again, if you're not focused on working with a specific factory on a specific product, could be a great chance for you to refine your idea by just browsing through some of these supplier pages and finding one that's the right fit. Anytime you want to chat with a supplier, just click chat with a supplier. That'll allow you to send a message to them, and then they'll respond to you, and you can start up a conversation from there. Okay. Aaron asked a question, isn't there a service that offers that? Aaron, can you refine your question a little bit more? I'm not quite sure how to answer that. As you're doing that, I'll just go through and make sure I'm answering these questions as we go. I'll come back to the drop shipping question when we touch on fulfillment. And then as I'm going through the supplier listings, I'll focus a little bit more on the jewelry example. Okay. So as I mentioned, we have over 1,500 factories who can make a variety of merchandise. This will include jewelry, right? So Aaron, under any plan, including the Essentials plan, you are able to uh, sell and ship products with us. Um, Even with the Essentials plan, access to our fulfillment center is included. Now, you'll pay to store your items with us just like you would any 3PL, third-party logistics company. But you don't have to select the managed service plan in order to sell products with Pietra and for us to ship them for you. I will touch on the drop shipping question now, though. So Pietra is not a drop shipping company. And when I say that, I mean our factories are not going to ship your items directly to your end consumer. Rather, what they're going to do is they're going to ship your inventory to an end destination, either the destination of your choice, whether that's your home or some other address, or they can ship them to our fulfillment center, and we'll store your items for you and manage all of your order fulfillment for you. Okay, so this is included under all of our plans: essential, business, and managed service. And one advantage of using the Pietra fulfillment center is that you get to take advantage of lower fulfillment rates and storage rates because of the power of the membership. Okay. And another question here, does your fulfillment work through Shopify? So yes, it does. So if you decide to use this as your fulfillment partner, we will actually sync your Shopify website with our inventory management software and fulfillment software. And then any orders that come in from your Shopify site will automatically be fulfilled by Pietra. Okay. We're jumping ahead a little bit here, but I would strongly encourage anybody who wants to launch a brand to create a website as soon as possible. This is one of the most important things for starting your company. And I would say 95% plus of our brand partners use Shopify. We also have integrations with Wix and WooCommerce. If you don't want to use one of those services, you can still use this for order fulfillment. You'll just have to enter all of your orders manually. So it'll definitely add some administrative work. I would say Shopify is pretty much the gold standard for integration from Pietra's perspective. Okay. And through Shopify, we can handle any TikTok orders. There's a lot of Shopify apps that you can add to your Shopify, and all of that information will flow through to the Pietra Fulfillment Center. Okay, stepping back from fulfillment here, yes, and we also handle returns. We have an automated return software here. So if you ever accept a return from your customer, this software will generate a prepaid return label for them to use. They'll send the item back to us. Then when it's received back, we'll review it and make sure that we can reshelve it, and then we'll handle the refund for you. So yes, we do. Okay. Stepping back to sourcing. So here you'll see 0% sourcing fees. You might see this advertised elsewhere, but for Pietra, this is actually the case. A lot of times you might, when you see drop shipping sourcing or sourcing direct from Alibaba, you might actually be working with an agent, which could add between 8 and 10% to your cost here. In this case, you're actually getting access to the factories themselves. So definitely competitive prices here. And factories across a variety of merchandise categories, okay? When you arrive in this section of the website, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, just spend some time browsing through the factories in your merchandise category. I believe I saw hair care or bath and body earlier, lots of hair care suppliers. Again, you can filter by location, the sampling price range, and just explore. And if you see something from their base product catalog, you might even recognize some of these, or at least the formulations. Go ahead and order a sample. You'll get some details about the production MOQs, sample options, very simple checkout, and then we can get that project going for you. Okay. Now, just know that just because it's not the specific product is not listed on their catalog, they likely have capabilities that are well beyond what is listed. And if you're not seeing exactly your product being listed here, I'd encourage you to start a custom project. Again, using this as a base product for you to describe. You can describe the project details, any reference images, and then you can start that custom project and get that conversation going. Okay. Again, this bar is searchable here. Lots of jewelry supplier options. Starting points that you can design and customize or order a sample to get started. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can send a message to your suppliers, and all those messages will live in your inbox here. So any replies, you should just open them up, review your supplier's response, and you should start talking about them with them about your project in detail in this chat. Okay. And if there's one piece of advice I could give to everybody, in addition to launching your website, it being an important next step to take, it is to go over all the details of your project with your supplier before moving forward with a large order. This will ensure that the supplier is meeting all of your specifications and that there's no confusion about what the item is. Okay. Has anybody spoken with the supplier thus far and ordered a sample? No worries if not. That's exactly what the intro webinar is for. Oh, great to hear, Antonio. So Aaron, I have not sampled, seen there's a minimum. So great flag there. There definitely will be MOQs, minimum order quantities for a production run, but the purpose of sampling is to order just one or a couple of units so you can review them and make sure that they meet your expectations. So rather than jumping into ordering multiple items, I would focus on ordering a sample. And we try to make that easy. I'm going to look at what your product category is, Aaron. I don't know if you specified that yet. We'll just pretend it's workout gear. Just order a sample down here. We can order a single unit to review, and then you can provide them feedback on the sample if you wanted a slightly different color, and then you could proceed with a production run, which will have a minimum order quantity. Okay, and great to see we have some on the webinar who have already ordered samples. That's great. Okay, a couple of other notes here on sourcing. So when the time comes for you to make a purchase, whether that's a production run or if you're going to order a packaging run, your supplier will generate an invoice in your inbox. Those invoices will show here. You'll pay them on Pietra, and then you'll be able to track all of your orders and shipments as they are being produced and shipped. Okay. You can always favorite your suppliers and favorite items. Easy to go back to your product design studio. And if you want to touch on print on demand, you can go navigate to that here. I would say print on demand is a great option if you have a pretty limited budget. You might just want to order a few items to get started. Or if you don't want to lay out funds to have a production run created, one benefit of print on demand is that you don't pay for the item until it's produced. And by that, I mean you have access to this print on demand store with your Pietra membership. So this is basically your store URL, your merchandise here. And then whenever an order comes in, that'll give our print on demand team instructions to make that item. Okay. Couple of additional questions here. Does it integrate with DashNext Commerce Platform? No, it does not. Could definitely explain the integration with Shopify. And yes, you could do multiple projects for 2 different brands through one membership. Lexi, I'm not sure if you're launching your own brand, or if you're helping somebody else. Would love some more information on that. And print on demand really doesn't integrate with Shopify. Um, uh, our Shopify integration for fulfillment really only applies if you are storing inventory at our warehouse. Otherwise, there's no real need to sell print on demand from Shopify. You can sell it directly from your Pietra store. Shopify also has, its own print on demand integration. So I'm not quite sure what you have in mind there, but you can definitely take a print on demand order and manually enter it into Pietra. Okay, lots of good questions today. Before I move on to fulfillment, in earnest, I want to touch on a couple of additional Shopify integrations and our marketing tools as well, specifically Pietra Pulse. So again, trying to keep it to some simple to-dos today for folks just getting started. Number 1 is to create your website. Number 2 is to find a supplier and make sure you start vetting that supplier. Number 3 would be to get yourself set up in Pietra Pulse. Basically, this is a social media monitoring tool that can allow you to do research based on what conversations are happening on social media. You can enter your brand name and ask Pietra Pulse to track it for you, so then any mentions of your brand will automatically be reported back to you. We can help you find influencers who can help you co-create content. Lots of really powerful tools here. And we are also making updates to this tool on a weekly basis. There's a Pietra Pulse webinar coming up later this week. So if you wanted to do a deep dive on Pulse, would strongly encourage you to sign up for that. And it's really a 2 to 3 minute sign up where you just provide your Shopify website and select a couple of hashtags that you want to monitor and topics, and then we'll get this going for you. So touching on Shopify integration, that is one really powerful Shopify integration that we have, is by linking your website to Pietra Pulse. We can provide you all of this social listening information. Same goes for Retail Connect, where we can find you brick and mortar stores to potentially sell your product in. Now, depending on where you are in this process, this might be a little bit beyond what you're working on now. But since the question came up about Shopify integration, I wanted to touch on this now. Okay. You'll just see some pretty simple dialog boxes asking you to connect to your Shopify. Now, all of that said, the most robust Shopify integration we have is for order fulfillment. So if you use us as a fulfillment partner, and when I say that, I mean if you send your inventory to us to be stored, and we'll ship all of your orders for you. I'm pulling up our rate card here. Would encourage everybody to check this out on their own time. As part of that process, we will integrate your website with Pietra, and then any orders that come in will automatically be fulfilled by our team. The Pietra Fulfillment Center is located in Statesville, North Carolina, and we can ship anywhere in the world from there. For international orders, yes, custom fees could apply, and that will vary how much they are and how they are paid depending on the country you're shipping to. But generally speaking, those customs fees are going to be paid by your customer after the product, arrives at the border of the receiving country. And then just reviewing a couple of other questions here. Does the Pietra storefront integrate with Shopify? No, it does not. It's really a separate storefront that you have access to as part of your membership. So if you have a Shopify store, you might have less reason to have a Pietra store, but you can definitely have both. Okay, great. Yeah, Lexi, I think that very good reason to have a Pietra membership. Focus on researching hair care suppliers who you think could be a good fit for your mom's formulas. you could definitely provide the custom formulas and they should be able to help you with that. Okay. All right, lots of great questions today. So before we wrap, I do want to touch on a couple of additional notes on sourcing. So there was a good question earlier about whether you can source your packaging and product on Pietra and whether those had to be sourced from the same factory. They definitely do not. So in addition to listing product factories, we have packaging factories. So you can imagine with Lexi's hair care brand, she might want to source some custom boxes, or if we're working on a fitness brand, we might want to source some custom poly mailers. Under the sourcing homepage, under packaging, we list a variety of packaging suppliers who can help you source these items. And additionally, you could imagine a case where you find your supplier for your product itself on Pietra, you source your box on Pietra, and you ship all of those items to the Pietra Fulfillment Center for assembly. So we could store your packaging and your product for you, and then we could assemble those items and provide specific instructions for how to package those items when you get an order. And lastly here, if anybody's looking for help designing a website, we list website developers and creative agents here who can help you with all these different services that might be required if you need a little bit of help launching your product or your brand. Couple last minute questions here. Yes, you can definitely sell your products on Pietra without a Shopify. Shopify is not required. And if you wanted to, you could just list your products on your storefront here. Share your Pietra store URL, and then have this be your online store instead of Shopify. Totally fine. Okay. And yes, working with any design partners, you'd hire them on an hourly basis, and they would either have their own rates or you would discuss their rates with them. What the Pietra membership offers is access to all of these tools. We, of course, respond to all customer support questions, but anything below that managed service tier that I mentioned earlier is going to be pretty self-service. You're the one in charge of this product. Okay, a couple last minute questions here. So yes, I can definitely go into Retail Connect here. So this is our tool that basically allows you to find brick and mortar stores that could be good matches to sell your items in their stores. Okay, so let's imagine I'm located in New York here. And this would be really specific based on what was displayed on your website. But essentially what we do here is we review the content on your website, identify what kind of brand you are, and match you with potential brick and mortar stores that would be good fits for you. And you could basically, we populate their contact information and you could basically reach out to them. So Beeland Beauty here is showing up as a smart match. We found their Instagram, we found their phone number, and we've found, and we actually like pre-populate a message here that you can use to reach out to them. Okay, and that'll automatically send them an Instagram DM. Okay, lots of good questions today. The last item I'll touch on here is every paid membership has access to our AI content studio. And basically here, again, very important to have a website or Shopify. You enter your website, we'll pull your product details, and you're able to do AI generative photo shoots, change the backgrounds, and create new content for you to share, on your social media or on your website. Really powerful tool that provides really high quality images that you can use to help market your brand and create new content. Okay, excellent. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining today. Lots of great questions. Focus on sourcing. If you ever get hung up, don't hesitate to reach out to our customer support via this little chat bubble. We can definitely point you in the right direction to a supplier. Also, those of you who decide to go with the business membership, this is another great benefit of signing up for the business membership. You'll actually get access to scheduling on-demand calls with experts across our team. So if you were looking for a little bit of help with sourcing and you had the business membership, you could schedule a quick 15-minute check-in with our team, and we could point you in the right direction with finding a supplier. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, we run this webinar every week. Sometimes folks will continue to attend just to hold themselves accountable for your product, for your project. We definitely welcome everybody who attends.